Hello survivors, and welcome to another video. In today's video we are playing on the Sentinel in Soulstone Survivors, and what we're going to be doing is running what I like to call a tagless skill type. Now what I mean by that is our Sentinel over here has access to Chaos, Ice, Nature, Electric, Shadow, Projectile, and Bomb skills. What we're going to be doing today is giving him a tag that he does not own, so in this case for today, Blast, and we're going to see how quickly we can beat Curse VII with that. Now he does have a very strong passive, the Panther, which a lot of people don't like, but besides for that, we're going to use only 6 Blast skills, and that's going to require us to take the Blast Mastery skill. So weapon wise, we are using his Misery End. The actual weapon doesn't matter besides for the extra stats that each one gets, so we're going to be going for the extra damage and cast frequency with crit damage, so we're taking that. And then our runes, we are going for Unconventional Start, Skill Inclination Blast, Skill Affinity Blast, Skill Mastery Blast, and then I've taken Decapitator because I feel like with all the direct damage coming from the blast skills, that's a pretty decent rune to have, especially for the execution. So let's get straight into it. Unfortunately, I can't say, oh, we're going to be running this specific skill or not, because it gives us 8 random skills. We are going to take the first 6 that we see, so we are going to lock the first 3 that we see, and then hopefully get some good luck on the next 3. So in terms of blast over here, we did get overcharged strike. We can we don't have to reroll, but if we wanted to, we could reroll. But there we go, there's our first blast skill, Overcharged Strike, a 4-second cooldown on it. You should all know this from the third weapon of the Barbarian. Otherwise, if you didn't, this is the secondary skill for the third weapon of the Barbarian. So very, very nice skill. It gives us disorientated. It does also stay on the floor for a specific amount of time, which means that, you know, we don't even need to necessarily deal damage with the strike. The AoE that's left on the floor is going to deal disorientated to enemies, so that's going to be very, very good. And because of that, we will then start focusing on some crit chance and also crit damage. It's going to make it very, very strong for us. Now in the corner, we started off there, we do get our Panther. Again, staying in the corner means that we are just going to have to run to the middle every so often, because that's how or where the Panther decides to like to run into. So here are our blast skills. We're going to start off by taking Buckshot, but we will then obviously have the other 2 locked, so we are going to have to take them. We do have Threshing Blast, which is bleed. We don't have any bleed in our kit just yet, so it's kind of a null and void skill, but we do have to lock it. I did mention we would, but we do get weakness and fragility from both Buckshot and Explosive Shot, so very, very strong. I think Blast has quite a wide variety of different upgrades or skills that help us along the way with regards to negative effects. So I mean, we've got disorientated, we've got bleed and hemorrhage, stacking abilities, we've got weakness, we've got fragility, there's melting as well from napalm strike. So a very good variety coming in from those skills. We are going to have to just see what else we've got over here. We've got ourselves a shrapnel shot, very, very strong as well. That one doesn't have anything special to it except for dealing a lot of damage. And then we're going to go and focus on some crit. So crit, cast speed, multicast, very, very good. Area of effect's going to help us in terms of our overcharged strike. But other than that, you don't really need the area of effect, especially for a 0 overload or 0 cycle run. We do just want to try and get as much crit as possible, as well as everything like that. So here we go. In terms of this, you know, which one do we pick? Because, you know, we've got either or. I don't know. Look, in terms of damage wise, precise shot is probably better for the build, but in terms of, you know, what do we take, because, you know, which one showed up first, I think unfortunately we are going to have to go for, you know, from left to right, because that's the way we read. We're going to go and take Freezing Blow. Just a personal choice. You can obviously do whatever you want and take whatever you want. but because that's one that showed up first, left to right, we are going to be grabbing the freezing blow. Power shot would have been better because of having access to bleed for threshing blast, but you'll see our overcharged strike is going to deal plenty of damage, so we're not too worried about threshing blast. Now we're going to go for some area of effect. We can actually grab touch of ice just so that we have paralysis as a negative effect as well, because all stacks of slow are going to be converted to paralysis. Just in case you didn't know what paralysis did, it reduces their movement speed, but it also increases direct damage taken by 1% per stack. So we get a nice damage bonus over there, very similar to our exposed, or even to to brittle, or even vulnerability and things like that. So very, very strong to grab. And we already lost our panther. I don't know how we did, but we did. But I think he was running back this way. I wasn't very focused over there, but normally the panther does run back to the middle of the map, so I'm not sure why he didn't, but he never. He's chilling there in the corner again, but that's very good for us anyway, because now we're able to get him back quickly just in time for the first boss fight. Now what we're going to try and do is keep in melee range of the bosses, because overcharged strike is a melee skill, and we do want all that juicy disorientated on the bosses. That's going to help us deal a whack ton more damage to them. If you aren't happy with Decapitator as a skill, you can run Relentless and then just stack your HP on there as well, and then get that juicy cast frequency from certain skills. It does seem to be that you do get Threshing Blast and Power Shot quite often as blast skills. I don't believe there are a lot of blast skills in the game, so you can actually take your Path of Agony rune as well for your poor man's what's the wording I'm looking for your poor man's Scent of Blood. That's the word. So poor man's Scent of Blood, the Path of Agony rune, if that's what it was called. I think it's called Path of Agony, and that's going to give you a lot more cast frequency without really worrying about your life like you do with recklessness and needing to be on low life. So if you are going to go for blast, go for Path of Agony, just so you can get your precise shot then and have the bleed damage to give you cast frequency. But because blast is direct damage, I thought Decapitator would be a good choice as well. Alright, we are going to lose our panther now. There we go, he went down. He went down to the corner again, which again is very good for us. And we're just going to go and run towards the center. We're already back on him, but we do have 10 levels to now sort out. So again, going for crit. We're on a decent amount of crit as well, which is fantastic. We're on 80%. Grab some cast frequency. Do we need cast frequency though? On our actual panther we don't. We're on 87%, so we're going to grab the damage rather. Some area, multicast over there, some crit chance, multicast, crit and crit, so that's really good. Some really nice crits coming in over there. Get rid of flamethrower boy over here. Oops, we stood still for a bit too long over there, so that gave us a lot of damage taken. We actually lost a life, so that's really not good on our behalf, but it's okay, it's not the end of the world. We should still be able to finish this very, very easily. So get some area of effect for blast. And we should be okay. I mean, we don't even need the actual panther, but what the panther does is just makes it a lot easier for us to obviously have that multicast and cast frequency. So it definitely does help. A lot of the time you do want to have it anyway, so you do kind of have to get out of the corner with it, which is a bit painful. You know, not everyone likes to have to move that far out of where they were just for a passive, but definitely a lot easier to use than the paladin. So I think out of every single one of the new passives, my worst one is paladin, and then after that would be arcane weaver, because, you know, once you get too much movement speed, you have to stop and stand on the actual stone to pick it up. Whereas if you don't have the movement speed and you just stand on it, if you move over it, it picks it up automatically. But if you do get movement speed, it becomes a lot harder to pick up, which isn't really great. You don't want to have to stand still for any amount of time, and that goes for the same with the Paladin, having to try and get into the small circle for their passive is one of the worst ones out of all of them. Not that they're bad, they're very, very good, but just compared to the rest of them, they're a lot harder to activate. And sometimes, like there, I had all the bosses up. I was able to activate my Panther because we're actually running. Whereas with some of the other skills, you're not moving. And because the game right now is in a state of it's a dodging simulator, you kind of don't have the choice but to move, and therefore you have to sacrifice getting hurt to get your passive for the Arcane Weaver and the Paladin. Alright, keep them all in the nice disorientated over there, that's fantastic. I have actually increased my bitrate on OBS. I am hoping that it's going to be less grainy if I have the visuals up, especially for like today's video where it does linger with the lightning on the floor because of the overcharged strike. And things like that. Normally sometimes when it gets hectic in terms of boss fights and things like that, it does become very grainy. So I am hoping that by adding or increasing my bitrate, it will make a big difference, but we're going to see when the video actually comes out and go from there. It would be very nice if it works. If it doesn't, then there's nothing I can do. Maybe I'd have to get a game capture card and have it that the capture card is separate to the PC, and then that would help. But other than that, there's not much more else I can do with regards to clarity. And we are just going to have to wait till I'm a bigger YouTuber. On that note, please make sure that you do subscribe to the videos, especially if you do like my content, because your support is much appreciated. And I would love for us to grow as a community. Right, let's go. Nearly a sub minute 8 run. That would have been really, really cool if we got 8-minute sub on Blast. I have been able to get it, but it just depends on which blast skills you get. Like I mentioned, we did go for Freezing Blow instead of Precise Shot. I do believe we would have dealt more damage if we had taken Precise Shot, but I felt because we were taking the first blast skills in our what we had access to, it just felt right to based on the thematic part of to go for the first one out of both of them. Alright, let's go. Oh. Okay, keep going. Blast is, I don't know, I feel like Blast is quite a very strong skill type to do. Let me know down in the comments which skill tag you would like to see on a character that doesn't have it. We did do Swing, I believe, on the Arcane Weaver quite a long time ago, and that one was actually very interesting because some of the swing skills are really difficult to deal a lot of damage with, but even here you can see we have taken a lot of damage this run. We've actually lost both of our lives, so there is actually a chance for us dying, especially if we aren't on our actual passive on the Panther. So even though the damage is there, it looks like it's our passive that's actually dealing most of the damage, and it's very unsafe for us to get close to things without necessarily dying. So let's see. Get away from there, because last thing we need is for the Void Presence to go and kill us. But there we go, we did it. It was under 10 minutes, which is perfect. That's great. Not really the expected time, unfortunately, but out of all of the skills, we actually dealt the most damage with Threshing Blast. I really didn't see that coming. I was thinking Overcharge Strike would do a lot more, but that all depends on the upgrade skills and the passives that you do get. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And always remember, keep safe, survivors. Until next time, cheers.